Okay, I'd like to start the planning commission meeting Wednesday, July 23rd, 2005, and it is 6:39. Call to order, Mr. Kenny.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Reyes.
Yeah.
Mr. Burke is excused tonight. Mr. Price.
Here.
Mr. Studley.
Here.
Secretary Anderson. Vice Chair Kalunian.
Here.
Chairman Flynn is here for a quorum of 8. Evacuation plan, doors you came in, lead out from the left to the back of the building, right to the front. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, 5.1, we have approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes,
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
June 25th.
Oh, excuse me, yep. Minutes of, Wednesday, June 25th.
I'll second it.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 6, we have a bond release. Recommendation to the town council for a final bond release, Cedar Creek Phase 2, owner applicant ASCO Group and Company, AP 318 Lot 172, Zone R2. This is for Providence Place and Hill Farm Road. Final bond release to be approved in recorded phases of an approval 4-lot subdivision with street creation. Recommendation to town council to release the remaining 10% retention balance of $18,373. Is anybody here for the applicant? Seeing none, is anybody in the audience like to say anything for or against this bond release? Anybody on Zoom? Raise your hand. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to recommend this bond release to the town council.
Make a favorable motion to release the bond to the town council for assessors plat 318 lot 172 Cedar Creek's phase 2 subdivision for the amount of $18,373.43.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Kenny. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 7.1, we have a public hearing. Preliminary plan, major land development with associated dimensional variances. Owner Newsteck Hill Coventry LLC, CO Morgan Bullen. Applicant Kimley Horn and Associates and Company. CO Stephen Fusco, AP 10 Lot 31, Zone JB. Special Business Planning District Overlay with General Business. 1920 Newsteck Hill Road. Applicant proposes development of 3-story, 75,000 gross square foot commercial self-storage building. In addition to its existing self-storage complex, the application will be heard via Unified Development Review as the applicant is seeking zoning variances for the building design elements proposed for this site, which is located within the Special Planning Overlay District, as well as the proposed number of loading spaces. The applicant also seeks a reduction in the number of required parking spaces. Is anybody here representing the applicant? Come on up. Name and address, please. And just for clarification, this is Unified Development. The new law last year that the planning board will be doing the zoning variances. So if in fact this passes, we'll have to get the variance out of the way first, and then we'll look at the application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
George Watson. Address is Robinson and Cole, 1 Financial Plaza, Providence, Rhode Island, 02903. Also have Stephen Fusco.
Nice. Stephen Fusco, address is 271 Waverly Oaks Road, Waltham, Mass. 02450. FUSCO.
Watson. It's anyway. So starting off, it's been about a year since we were last here.
2, I think, isn't it? It's
2
almost 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, July 28th of 2023. So
Ooh.
Nice to see everyone. We're here to go through the application. We have several variances that are being requested, as well as a couple waivers. Just to go through the list of the variances that are being. Variance for one loading space where 8 would be required. We also have a flat roof for the proposed building. It's building facades where that window is greater than 60 feet in length. No customer entrance on the proposed building street facing facade, where at least one's required. And finally, no planting of new evergreen trees on the rear side of the building. So with respect to the waivers, the applicant's requesting a waiver from the sidewalk curbing and street lighting requirements. So Steve can provide some more details on the variances that are being requested and why. So.
So, since we were last here for approval, from a design perspective, really the only major change was that we included a trash enclosure and located at the rear of the building, and have been coordinated with Kent County Water Authority to make sure that all of on-site services were up to their latest details and materials. So just coordination with them. Other than that, the overall layout hasn't changed at all. The variances are related to the architecture.
The perimeter will be fenced, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the perimeter will be fenced with a chain link fence up until it reaches the face of the building facade, and then from there it will transition to a aluminum picket decorative fence. In regards to street tree plantings and things like that, we provided some updated renderings to show what it'll look like, a few years out, and then at full maturity. The intention is to put them on the road to screen the building and essentially restore it to closer to what it currently is.
I'd like to thank the applicant also for taking our suggestion of an earth tone color on the building. I like the rendition of it, me personally.
Excellent.
That it for your presentation?
With respect to the variances that are requested, would you like us to go through each one?
We're going to read the variances into record, but if you want to read them, you certainly can.
I'll let you read them into record. Then
Yeah, we'll read them into record.
Then you can respond to.
It's a public hearing too, so I'll open up public hearing. Anybody else like to have any questions for the applicant? Go ahead.
Please, Mr. Thank you.
Okay.
Last time you were before us, I thought the intent was to actually leave some of those nice 60, 70, 80-foot pines that are there. I thought we talked about that. Did something change with the is it the swale you're putting out front? I thought we talked about leaving some of those nice seasoned trees.
Correct.
Right. And now we're mowing them down. I mean, I tell you, the sexiest thing about that storage building is I can't see it. It just seems like that whole corridor is just everything's coming down. But if it can't, I mean, I don't know if it's changed or not. If it did, I'd just like to know why. If it didn't, then we're just back where we started.
Your OWTS are located in the front or the back?
In the back,
back.
the front of the building is all storm water. So if it had been changed since that site walk, it would have been due to the size of the stormwater facility. Taking them out. I mean, we wouldn't take out a tree unless we had to. So if there was an opportunity to save it, then we'll save it.
You're convinced that they all have to come out?
Well, they're going to replant, I think.
From a drawing perspective, like looking at a survey, it looks like most of them will have to come out once we're getting on site, and it seems like there's an opportunity to, depending on how the root structure is on it, and if it can be in the slope and not undermine the tree and doesn't pose a hazard, particularly to the street side, then we would make an effort to save it. It would be in everybody's best interest.
Even if you plant, you got 50 years of growth there that, I don't know, it's going to take.
Yeah, I mean, from a the species that we did plant, they are fast growing. They tend to be fuller at the bottom and they essentially shoot up to 2/3 maturity height within 15 to 20 years. So I think from a blocking the facade of the building in the near, if you want to think about it 15 years out, the existing trees will probably begin to thin out from the bottom and you're just going to be left with trunks. So from that perspective, it may actually from a long term be more of a blockage from it. I mean, no one likes taking down mature trees, but I think from a long-term perspective, it might actually be beneficial.
Anybody else?
I would also add though, from a visual mitigation perspective, I understand you don't want to see the buildings that are currently there, but we are replacing it with a new building in front. Not replacing it, but we're adding a new building.
It's a beautiful building.
Different mitigation too, so.
John, that's up?
Sure, I'm sorry. I have a little bit of a concern about the flat roof. I know that, we've had several other buildings in this area also that we have required to get the sloped roofs on, including some of the new buildings right across the street. So I'm a little bit hesitant to taking the buildings across the street and saying you need a sloped roof, and then here we are giving you a variance for a flat roof. So I do have a concern with
I
that.
think the height of that building is gonna be exit 3 stories, correct? Be about 35, it'll stay in the 35-foot range.
Correct, yes.
I don't know how much of the roof you're gonna see. But certainly a good point, if they can put a facade in the front to hide any HVAC units from the eye or step them back.
Oh, for the mechanical?
Yeah, I think it's an eyesore, especially when they get old. If that's something you can do, would that be good?
Yeah, I think that
Step them back.
that would be good, or, you can put up like.
Because you're in an overlay district and they frown upon flat roofs. So, go ahead. Bob.
I'll just note, I believe the applicant's current design has what's called a parapet
Yep.
in the front. So they are hiding mechanicals. That doesn't change the fact that they are seeking relief for a flat roof.
Yeah.
So that's up to the board's discretion. I would note the current roof height is right about 35 feet with that parapet. Yes, 32 is the base roof height. The parapet goes up another 3 feet, so they're right at the height limit. If we were to exchange and put a sloped roof, we're probably trading out the need for a variance for a flat roof, and we're trading it for a height relief to get a pitched roof that would go above 35 feet. Not a bad comment, but those are considerations.
I got one question.
Go ahead.
On the behind it where the trailers are, you're not touching none of those trees back there, right?
No, the
It's gonna stay right
disturbance
there,
is
the
all in front.
for them? All right, I make sure that.
Anyone else?
One more.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Have you ever been, this is like just standard, right, with Cube Smart? This is just a standard design, right? They mostly look like this all over?
No, this one, they've put in some effort in order to comply with the overlay district and using like the earth tones and different siding materials and things like that. Spatially, geometrically, yes, it's standard, but in terms of the architectural
Right.
detail, yeah, they're,
Yeah,
No,
these,
Yep,
Go ahead.
no other communities challenged you with a facade of a transom or gables or anything like that? You had like if you were in New Hampshire or if you were in, even East Greenwich, I don't know if you've ever been challenged with actually building a facade as such.
I haven't with this client. I don't know if the architects have.
Okay,
I haven't.
all right, thanks.
and I think your normal aesthetic is orange, right? For the exterior envelope, so the whole building would be orange. So
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
you did put the effort in to eliminate the orange.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
One, Mr. Chairman. So I just want to get just clarification for the record, because we did get one letter from an abutter that was concerned because, you know, the properties abutting you have kind of been stripped back and they live in the condos in the back. And I know you're not changing the rear portion of your property. So can you just explain, I saw it looks like you got to remove maybe 2.5 feet of soil to get your detention basin in.
Mhm.
That'll get scraped. The pine trees are coming out. So along the frontage, that's going to be a picket type fence. Is that what you said?
Correct, yeah, an ornamental fence.
And then behind that, you are going to put plantings?
Correct.
And those types of plantings, that's what I was looking for there. What are they like? Something like an arborvitae or a hemlock or, and then is it a total screen or are they just kind of placed intermittently?
Sorry, I'm at the age now where I got to take the glasses off to
Yeah.
look down. They're white pines. So they're a little wider than an arborvitae, like a green giant arborvitae.
Okay.
You know, they're like,
So is the idea to screen pretty much the whole thing so you'll see the fence and then the green and then you'll only see the top portion of the building? Or are they spaced out so that you can see in between them?
they're spaced out. They're not, the intent is they will fill in, and especially because the pines get wider.
Got it.
And then there's intermediate plantings in between to kind of dress it up a little.
Got it. So you basically have screened it with the fence and the plantings all along the front.
Yes, that's the intent.
And you'll just see the building behind it with the facade and the color. Yep. Thank you.
Anybody else? You all set? You want me to open up public hearing?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open up public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open up public
I
hearing.
have a motion, I have a second. I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is now open. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against this project? Seeing none. Anybody on Zoom? Just for the record, we do have an email to opposing this project from Nancy Fullerton, so I just wanted to state that for the record. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing. I have a motion? A second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is now closed. Any questions before I ask for any motions? Yeah, all set? You all set? In a motion for the variances, if you want to read them into record?
Sure, I'd be happy to. My suggestion to the board is, as you'll note in the staff report, the variances are all to some degree very related. There are 5 variances, but we made one set of findings. My recommendation, and as long as the solicitor concurs, is that we'll identify the variances up front, and then you can consider one vote to collectively approve the variances as a block and indicate that the variances are based upon the findings in the staff report. Then we'll take it from there. I'm just going to read them again for the record. The five variances are: one, to seek one loading space where 8 would be required per Article 7, Section 1210C 1-2. The next variance is to propose a flat roof for the building where flat roofs are not allowed per Article 5, Section 530E2A. The next variance is segments of proposed building facades without any windows greater than 60 feet in length, where 60 feet is the maximum windowless facade length allowed per Article 5, Section 530E2E1. Next variance, no customer entrance on the proposed building's street-facing facade where at least one would be required per Article 5, Section 530G2. And the last variance is no planting of new evergreen trees on the rear side of the proposed building where these would be required on all sides of a building which abut or face a residential zoning district per Article 5, Section 530G3.
Okay. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to, for the variances as read by staff as a block of 5.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a favorable motion for the variances. based on the findings of fact in the report. I would also like to include that report in my motion.
Okay, I have a motion for the variances. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Reyes. Discussion.
Just a point of clarification, Doug, the no planting of new evergreen trees on the rear side of the proposed building, that is just for the new building as opposed to the property.
Correct.
So it wouldn't make sense to put I just want to make sure it wouldn't make sense to put plantings between the two storage facilities, the existing and the proposed. I just wanted to get that clarified to make sure there's no one out there feeling that we're giving them a variance not to provide a buffer between, let's say, property to the rear as opposed to the new.
That's correct. It would
Thank you.
anticipate, it's that rear property line, but because of the existing facility between them and because the existing buffer, which is much taller than anything that would be planted, is there.
Great.
That's
Thank you.
basically it.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion for the variances as a block. Staff?
Just made it.
Can you read it? I have a second.
A second it.
Have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries on the variances. I'll entertain a motion on the application itself.
Preliminary.
And then through the chair, I'll just interject. We would assume that a motion you're about to make should be inclusive of the waivers.
Yes.
Would you like me to read the waivers for the record?
Would you like to read them for the record?
Yeah, no problem. One of them's a little unique, so it's worth you being aware. There are waivers that are fairly standard and straightforward, that they would not be providing sidewalks. Staff would note that, and/or curbing. Staff would note that no sidewalks or curbing exist in the surrounding properties to connect to. They're seeking a waiver for street lights. Would note that street lights exist on the opposite side of Nooseneck. There were no concerns with that. And then the other waiver is that the board has the power to, on any given project, to alter the required number of parking spaces. And it's offered in our code as an item that's not a variance, it's a waiver item. The code refers to if the town engineer or the planning commission concur with that. The town engineer has reviewed the parking submission, has no concerns with it. Our parking code does not anticipate how to park for a use like this, where there's a lot of square footage, but not a lot of parking demand. So staff is supportive. The number of parking spaces required by the code based on gross square footage would be equal to 250 new parking spaces. And self-storage facilities are not known for that. I'll just confer with, that they're proposing 4 new parking spaces, inclusive of 1 handicap space. That is being considered baked into your application and baked into your recommendation of waivers as a specific waiver. Wanted you to be aware of that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Doug, and that also includes the loading area in the back, which also alleviates any parking issues.
Yeah, actually, so the loading, oddly, you need a variance for the loading. This use requires 8 loading spaces. They're providing 1. That requires a full variance. The code calls out that parking can be handled as that the board can adjust the parking count for any specific project, and the way we're handling it is addressing that as part of the waiver of the decision.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I'll just note for the record, I remember debating that parking issue when they were here before us back in 2023. And they pretty much demonstrated that these types of facilities, believe it or not, during the day, the comings and goings, they don't need any more parking. If they did, they would have proposed it. Customers just don't need it.
Yeah, and generally these facilities, I mean, the parking is really for someone that pulls up to the office. Most of the actual comings and goings of customers are happening right at their doors or where the loading areas are. So, 4 parking spaces to service the, number of customers they may have is more than sufficient.
Anybody else? Yeah, I'll entertain a motion for Coventry Self-Storage Major Land Development.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the preliminary plan for Coventry Self-Storage, Assessors Plat 10, Lot 31 in the General Business Zone 1 on the 3.7 acre lot for the self-storage facility as proposed. I would like to incorporate the findings of fact and the planning director's report as presented and add the applicable waivers as well.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Want a final administrative?
I'm positive they do.
I want to add that to the motion.
And we can add that to the record, although it is usually considered, unless we want to bring it back, it is considered administrative. But the matter's still in front of you. You just voted. If you want to just make a comment that final will be handled
I'll
administratively.
add that to the motion that the applicant is requesting final administrative.
Without objection.
Okay? Thank you. Okay, 7.2, Coventry Center, public hearing, master plan, major land development with associated zone changes. Owner, Bernard L., Liv T. and Christopher LaFoli, Lot 23, David T. and Christine Alton, Lot 24. Applicant Star Capital LLC, AP7, lots 23 and 4. Zone I1 Industrial, 666 on the road, Lot 23, 2271 New London Turnpike is Lot 24. Applicant proposed development of commercial project, Lot 23, multifamily residential project, Lot 24. The commercial project would include 48,000 gross square foot of commercial space with a mixed retail, restaurant, drive-through, and gas station convenience stores. The multifamily residential project would include 218 units across 4 buildings with 18% deed restricted affordable housing. The proposal includes a corresponding zone change application, which will be subject to recommendation by the Planning Commission and ultimately decided by the Town Council. Come on up. Name and address, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kelly Morris Salvatore with Darrow Everett, offices in Providence, Rhode Island, and I am here representing the applicant tonight. Just procedurally, I just want to note for the record that our presentation will include comments on both 7.2 and 8.1, which is the actual recommendation to the Town Council for the zone change. I just wanted to note that for the record. I also was wondering, did you want to show plans on the?
Yeah, no problem. If you need them, plans are generally called up. There you go. We can leave that on the screen if that's helpful.
Thank you. So tonight I have with me, you've met Tim Eden in the past from Star Capital. He's here. Josh Rosen from VHB is our site engineer. Kristen Cowett is our traffic engineer. And Ed Pimentel is here for land use matters. And of course, this relates to properties located at 666 Arnold Road, which is Assessor's Plat 7, Lot 23, and 2271 New London Turnpike, which is Assessor's Plat 7, Lot 24. There's approximately 17 acres on the full site. And you remember back in February, we were here on a pre-application. I think at that time we showed you a full commercial development, but in talking with the applicant's real estate professionals and brokers that he's using, we've determined that splitting the site and leaving it as 2 lots for master plan is appropriate and what the market really needs right now. So that's why we're doing 1 lot residential and the other lot commercial. The property is currently zoned I1, and we are proposing a zone change to a special plan district called Coventry Center Plan District. The zone change is proposed to promote flexibility with the appropriate potential commercial uses, as well as the multifamily residential. The master plan proposes 48,000 square feet of commercial space on Lot 23, which is the one closest to Arnold Road, and then 218 multifamily dwelling units on Lot 24, more on New London Turnpike. Although Coventry does not have a mandatory inclusionary affordable housing requirement, as we did with the center of New England, the ordinance proposes that 18% of the housing units be designated as LMI units. I also want you to know that the project is intended to be phased such that the commercial and residential developments may be built independent of each other, depending on, again, market, economic, all that. Just high level on the zone change. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to go through the zone change line by line. We reviewed the current provisions and uses in your Coventry zoning ordinance, and no one zoning district really meets the needs of this property. Therefore, we are proposing a zone change that is specific to this entire property. We did add a couple of uses that are not within your ordinance, and that includes sale and repair of personal items, motel and hotel, and pet grooming services. Those are things that we thought, another potential tenant was talking about, like mobile cell phones. So that's specifically called out in the personal items. We also worked with planning staff to develop dimensional regulations to address the specific conditions of this property in proposed section 255-540.6. So we started out with looking at the business park zoning, but we addressed dimensions like height and buffers to respect neighbors across New England Turnpike and also to the northwest New London, which would be Assessors Plat 7, Lot 1. We have a step back in height of 200 feet before the buildings can get as tall as 65 feet. You'll also see in proposed section 255-540.8 that we are providing a larger buffer along the boundary line that's shared with that Lot 1 next door on New London Turnpike. So those are the major elements of that zone change that I wanted to review with you. I also just want to be clear that the proposal, obviously the solicitor looks at our ordinance and makes changes. What we presented was a little bit different. So we're asking for you to consider what we originally submitted under motels and hotels as a use on line 111. The included proposed language now says that the motels and hotels should not be located in residential areas. We don't think that is appropriate because you're going to have a residential development right next door, and I don't know how that would be interpreted. So we're asking for that to be struck. We had also proposed, again, I just said 200 feet into New London Turnpike. We asked for 65 feet. And the current zoning ordinance proposal says 60 feet. We're just looking for another 5 feet. And the reason for that is because after we had submitted our original proposal, the planning staff started talking about what you were just talking about the self-storage, screening the mechanicals. So we wanted to get a little bit more height so that we could screen those mechanicals. That's the reason for that. And then finally, the flat roofs, which this is the language in your ordinance, so we're trying to go back to the current ordinance. Your current ordinance says flat roofs shall be avoided, and then we say, however, parapets and faux roofs may be used to screen mechanicals and solar panels. And again, you'll get more of that at preliminary plan. So that we'd like you to consider as part of your recommendation to the town council. We did provide you with examples, conceptual examples of what the commercial buildings might look like, what the residential buildings might look like. The staff asked us to provide those, so I brought those to you tonight. Now, in our presentation tonight, you're going to be, I'm sure very interested in traffic. We have a traffic expert here. Generally at this stage of review, master plan, you don't get a lot of traffic information, but we've provided you with a very detailed traffic study. at the TRC meeting and in communications with staff, they have asked us to add a couple of more details to the traffic report, which we can discuss. Tonight, we are asking for a conditional approval. I think we can talk a lot about traffic tonight, but within the next 2 weeks, we're going to add that information that the staff has asked us, and we really want to have that available for the town council, because they're making a major decision on a zone change. And then, of course, you'll see that also at preliminary plan review. You're going to see that the traffic that we've done is already quite detailed. So we would like you to consider a conditional
If
approval.
I could jump in, I think our plan was to continue this to the
Yep.
27th.
And again, Mr. Chairman, I understand that. From our perspective, we were here last in February. We've been working with the planning staff all these months. And another month, because again, the zone change was just presented last night to the town council. We would love to be before the town council in August, but your meeting comes after the town council's meeting. So that's our request. It's up to you, but that is our request. So at this point, I would have Josh Rosen come up and go over the plans. And Mr. Chairman, just for the record, Josh is a professional engineer. How long, I would like to have him qualified as an expert.
Yep.
He's appeared before many boards in Rhode Island. How many years of experience do you have?
22.
22 years of experience. If you need more, I can keep asking him questions, but
No,
if you would accept him as an expert.
I'll accept it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Josh Rosen, ROSEN. Rhode Island Registered Professional Engineer, Project Manager with VHB, office at 1 Cedar Street in Providence. Just a quick couple of comments from me before we move the presentation along. I think back in February or March when we were here, we discussed a little bit about the site. At the time, we presented a concept that we were contemplating with our team and the applicant, and we've made a couple of changes indicated by Ms. Morris. And I'll just kind of give you an overview of the site design if I could, and then a couple of points on some of the things that we've considered and a couple of things that we will be moving forward with in our design phase and we'll present at the next stage. But certainly it might be of importance as you're contemplating your approval to understand sort of where we've come through the design process or the planning process on the site, how we arrived at the layout that you see on the screen right now. And then certainly any questions along the way, feel free to jump in. But as you know, the properties together are 17 acres. So we've got this quite a lengthy frontage on both Arnold Road and the London Turnpike. And as we developed our iterations with Mr. Eden and our team, it'd probably be important to realize that with the zone change or the overlay zoning request, we definitely worked very closely with the team that was crafting that ordinance to sort of ensure that the property could support the developments that we had contemplated for this project. And in doing so, a lot of the elements of the design here that you'll see are really sort of open space wise, landscape buffer wise, parking wise, are all sort of based on what the property can support after our extensive due diligence effort. So it's not like we came first with a maximized development for density and commercial retail space. We took a really hard look using sort of the client's direction, or in this case, the applicant's direction, as far as topography, other limiting factors, along our frontage, positioning of driveways, the street corridor, the surrounding uses. Fortunately, on the property, there are no wetland resource areas, and nearly adjacent to, there are no buffers that encroach on our property. So we had a clean slate as far as that goes. Other environmental issues that are on some of these properties that we see today, that they don't exist here. But we were able to integrate a design with the topography, respecting the neighboring properties. And that's what some of the information that you'll see in that ordinance will reflect. Particular planning with landscape buffers to the residential neighbors to the northeast on the property, where you see that there's a larger landscape element of separation that will be there. We did provide along the streetscape a buffering and a landscape intention for Arnold Road and New London Turnpike. So with that said, the planning phase of this started with our location of our driveways. So the initial phase, or the commercial retail phase, has 3 locations for driveways, 2 being off Arnold Road. You see those on the southwest section of the parcel. The first road 2 that we're showing on this graphic is a right in and right out. Our traffic expert will explain a little bit more about the positioning there, but a right in, right out for the road 2 location. Road 1 at the western edge of the property is a 2-way in and out, and in and out. And the third location on New London Turnpike for the retail commercial program is a right in and right out as well. So we'll explain a little bit more again how we arrived there, but we have sort of created a traffic pattern that's conducive to both the New London Turnpike and the Arnold Road corridors for that retail space. We've programmed the buildings in about 48,000 square feet of gross floor area right now, considering that those would be 1-story builds. In 9 buildings, we programmed the space to be flexible for future uses. That's one consideration that the applicant, Mr. Eden, and his team were very, was at the top of their list. We had to kind of show you a density that works for us for planning purposes and for future infrastructure, but also something that would be flexible to the market needs, so that we're not completely changing and iterating this, down the road. So we have 9 buildings that can be planned for uses: retail, restaurant, office, commercial. There's a gas station, service station location. We've provided buffering and green space, not only between the uses, but on the periphery of the property. We've integrated some ideas for pedestrian layout within that commercial space. There's a landscape sort of graphic that shows some intended wayfinding signage locations, some entryway signage locations, and some other landscape and amenities within the space. The parking there is parked at 1 space per 1 space per 250 square feet of gross floor area, which is basically 4 spaces per 1,000. We've got that parking satisfied on the overall site, and also in proximate location to each individual building. So there's a shared and balanced parking plan that you're seeing, and it ties into what we feel is a very smooth access plan and configuration in and out of the property. One thing that you'll see overall in the plan, before I jump over to the residential side, is there's a consideration here to allow for new sidewalks along Arnold Road and along New London Turnpike. That was a request early on with planning staff and TRC. We've shown that in concept here. Basically, road number 1 up on the west end of the site on Arnold Road is a location where the sidewalk would begin or end, depending on how you look at it. And the road 3 location on New London Turnpike at the residential end, multifamily side, is the other beginning or end. The sidewalks are laid in between as a proposed sort of off-site improvement. And so we've made some connections to, from our site to that potentially new sidewalk system that we would design and discuss with your staff going forward through our next phase of the process. So over on the residential side, quick bit on that you kind of know from the information so far that there are 218 units shown on that particular program. There are 4 buildings, multifamily, multi-story buildings. The building that's positioned along the London Turnpike would respect that element of the height request within our zoning, and the 3 buildings sort of northerly on that property would have maybe a possibility for a 4th story because they have the additional height possibility greater than 200 feet from the London Turnpike. So within that program, we've sort of identified obviously our parking layout, a coordinated access at New London Turnpike for an in and an out, as I mentioned, for the multifamily residential, We've got some pedestrian connectivity between the buildings, centrally located amenity area, green space. The buffering that you see for landscape-related items along the periphery of the property. We're buffering the Willow Lakes project to the north. With the northeast is residential uses. We have an additional buffer at that location that would be naturally vegetated or purposefully planted. The parking there is 1.5 spaces provided per unit of multifamily residential. Traffic, we'll talk to that in a second. We provided a memo as to our support for that as well. But generally, again, we feel like the topography, the presence of the road frontage, the configuration of the lot has been sort of considered full on with this particular layout and schematic. And it's been quite a thoughtful process to arrive at the density and to arrive at the layout. We've considered that there's stormwater management needs that we'll have. We've put placeholders on this plan. I think we talked at pre-app that we had an open space percentage. I think that was sort of built into the program here and into the ordinance, where we're providing at least 35% green space project-wide, both projects individually and the sum of the two. So it'll give us opportunities to work with our landscape team, make a pretty creative plan going forward. So the view and the streetscape and looking inward and outward in the project is not predominantly dominated by parking and impervious surfaces. So we have enough room to work with. We plan on a rigorous stormwater design to meet all the regulations. Same thing you guys are typically looking to see and do see on these projects. Soil erosion, sediment control will be addressed at the next phase. We have public water available on Arnold Road and in New London Turnpike. We plan to use a connection in both streets for our potable and fire suppression services. We've already started working with Kent County Water on that. There's sewer lines in Arnold Road and New London Turnpike, and electric and gas services, telephone, et cetera, as well. All those things will be coordinated, designed along the way. And, we plan to be able to just come back with all those details at the next phase of design. As for layout and kind of how we arrived at the plan you see, I think my goal is to give you a little bit of a synopsis on how we got here, and happy to field any questions that you have.
Sure.
Things on the record. Mr. Rosen, can you confirm that there will be no significant negative environmental impacts from this development at this stage of review?
Yes,
And I believe your testimony supports that this proposal will have adequate and permanent physical access to a public street.
it will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody on the board have any questions?
Yes,
Go ahead first, Mr.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
So Josh, thank you for the presentation. Stormwater, I know it's just the beginning phase of explaining everything. Looks like there's one retention area that's down in the bottom right-hand corner, which is the northeast part of the property. Is that for the whole 17-acre site? Is that what you're thinking, or is it going to be separate?
Yeah, good question. The one that you're seeing on the northeast corner, that based on topography and based on the sort of area of the watershed, we feel like that location in combination with some of the internal green spaces on the residential side of the development, the stormwater would be accommodated at that location for the residential. And again, coupled with some interior sort of low impact style development, best management practice drainage features, underground, maybe some underground Coltex for the roof, some bioretention areas integrated with the landscape. But that location would handle the residential piece. We are showing another area up on the northwest corner within the commercial development area. If we can pan up slightly, you might be able to see that outline. There's another area for a stormwater feature to mitigate, our typical quantity of flows. And again, with that design, that may not be the only location. There may be some intermediate points within the landscape areas that we can do some smaller drainage, but that would be, you know, one of the prominent points where our drainage would go, based on topography and based on slope. Yeah, correct.
So they are separated.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
What's that?
Yes, when I come off Arnold, Turnpike on the Arnold Road, it goes into, one lane quick and it backs up a lot. Looking at this, my suggestion, I'm just thinking because of what I see here all the time. From Turnpike to the first entrance, have 3 lanes, widen it up. The inner lane is all right turn only into the center. Then go into 2 lanes, then you have the double, bring that 2 lanes past the second entrance. Then go into 1 lane. So it's spreading out a little longer. So you have one in, the other 2 going straight, then you can turn it again for the second, and then you merge in, because it looks right here, you're merging before that entrance. That's gonna back everything up. It backs everything up right now. So we extend it a little longer, add a 3rd lane just to the first entrance. And I think that would help with the traffic a little more. Same thing going up from the bottom to the top. Just after the first entrance, have 2 lanes going up. So the right lanes are automatically going into the second one, same thing. And then when you get up, then it opens up more.
I mean, generally, those points are very well taken. I mean, there's the exact elements of that corridor that we've reviewed and studied, and some of our recommendations are quite close to what you just mentioned. And
I've been going, I mean, I do every day. You go up there, especially on Saturdays and Sundays when there's a lot of cars, it's boom, you're like, and with that coming in, we got to widen in the beginning and then feed it down a little bit at a time past your project to get into 1 lane again. And I think that would help out with coming in and get another chance to come in and stuff like that, especially coming from the other side.
understood. Kristen will kind of
It's almost
expand
like
on
a
that.
race to
Correct.
get to that
Yeah.
single lane.
We saw that. We definitely saw
I
it
have
with
some
the
questions
area.
for her, but.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions? No? Go ahead, Rick.
We were handed a very informative set of drawings and plans today, and what I was trying to do was match up the buildings that are shown on this page, which is, I guess it just says site access. And then I think it's the view one, which has this beautiful, you know, canopy-like structure out on the corner. And this, for comparison, reminds me very much of Garden City as I flip through this. But when I look at this plan, it doesn't. And I'm just trying to figure out, am I missing something or?
We were asked to provide architectural concepts for Coventry Center. These were done a while ago. So these were really meant just to show like examples of massing and examples of architecture. We expect to obviously come back with preliminary plan with much more detail. So some of these pictures aren't what we're proposing. They're just examples of what the massing might look like, what the architecture might look like, that sort of thing.
What I'm trying to figure out here is this going to be a commercial area with commercial buildings scattered about, the associated parking, or is it going to be a walkable destination similar to Garden City where someone parks, goes to a restaurant, does a little shopping and comes back? They're 2 vastly different types of projects, and I think that's important. My other comment is, as I flip through the ordinance, everything in there seems to be compatible with kind of what I envision would be proposed for a development like this, with the exception of automotive repair. There's a couple of spots in there. It's not just minor. They talk about automotive repair, other than storage.
Colonian,
yes.
the auto repair is meant to be perhaps like a clean Jiffy Lube, like a, you know, a franchise, not,
And I anticipated that's what it
yeah,
might be.
not a Joe's,
Not noisy, not a.
and not like a
repair shop.
Joe's that you'd see on the side of the road. It's meant to be more of a, I don't know if I'm describing it right.
Yeah, I don't want to, I don't like to use
gotta
other
be
business
confusing.
names, but all of those types of facilities still have hazardous materials,
Oh,
50-gallon drums
all right.
stored outside. And again, we're talking about retail, restaurant. I mean, I'm not opposed to a convenience store, gas station, similar to, again, the Seasons with the Shell, the Neon gas station. But those type of automotive repair facilities, why are we creating a zone for that? I mean, it's already zoned industrial, I understand, but most of those facilities are in our general business zone.
So no, that's
Ready.
fair. And I was taking your comment wrong. I thought you meant because of all the parking that's associated with auto repair and it's,
So
yeah.
there were two specific spots: motor vehicles excluding outdoor sales or storage the same. Retail sales occur. The following type involved: services, products, tire, battery, accessory dealers, auto parts stores. Gasoline wasn't an issue. Self-station or service, minor repairs combined with convenience store. So again, it's the repairs in that aspect of it. And I think there was some similar language further on. So I'm just saying for that reason, that's my only opposition to this.
Okay.
And as far as the rest goes, I was just trying to figure out, I mean, if the zoning ordinance passed and we said, yes, we like the development, we like the concept, at what point do we get a say as to what the flavor is going to be? And I recognize they've got to do their marketing, and they might say Garden City within 5 miles has 80% of the wealth in the state of Rhode Island. You're not going to put a Garden City at this location. It's just not going to work. But whatever it's going to be, I would just like to see some consistency in the rendering so we know what it is that we're.
Those were kind of last minute.
Yeah,
Mr.
that's okay.
Colonian.
I just
They were.
wanted to make sure, I want to make sure we know
Yep.
what it is we're approving. Other than that, I think it's a great project, but then just to dovetail kind of what Kevin brought up, and I know I'm not going to belabor the traffic issue. We know there's enough going on, but has anything been set aside on either of the frontage roads in the event it turns out they do need to add lanes? Because the last thing we would want to do is then have a governmental agency or someone come in to widen the road and now find out we're impacting parking. Now they're paying for a capitalized rent loss. Now we've got damages to the remainder. So I would like to see a little bit of foresight where maybe the green space is out there. It's a little more than what you need, but at least if it comes to that, it can be attainable without a great deal of cost or impact to the project.
We have that consideration.
Yeah,
on
I couldn't
the New London Turnpike. We've had those conversations with the team and and the applicant, so.
And the sidewalks that were shown, were these going to be on the public land or were those on your off-site improvements?
Offsite improvement, that has to be discussed. I think we have a property line there and we have constraints with utility poles and other things in the right of way. We will probably need to give and take there in order to put that on the public land, which is, I think our goal would be our preference.
Your goal is not to own it and maintain it.
Right.
I
But
don't blame you.
it's gonna require some change in property.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we'd look to balance that, but the way it would lay out safely and appropriately, although we haven't designed every aspect of the improvement, it's going to need to be situated at a particular location, given what's going on around it in the street, and, you know, we'll have to have that conversation.
Yeah, and I realize
And swap or whatever that would be.
and utility relocations are costly, even if they had to widen the road. Just food for thought, the sidewalks don't always have to go on the outside of the utility poles. They can go on the inside as long as you get the ADA clearance, and you save a heck of a lot of money and time if you don't have to move utilities. And again, the reason I brought that up is this board prior to mine did approve a project in town. It's actually the CVS over near Wood Street, and they did all the sidewalks and everything, and then realized they were on their property, and then they wanted to get rid of them. And then they turned out it wasn't the town's property. Wood Street's a state road, and it you know, engineer and land transfer after the fact's a lot more difficult than planning.
Okay.
So that's why I brought it up.
There, thank
And,
you.
You know, again, this is just master. plan.
You read my mind, and this is a lot for master plan.
We've Given a lot.
There's a lot of information. But traffic is very important.
Understand-
Especially,
We've been talking about traffic since February.
especially in this area.
I'm concerned that the traffic's incomplete because we've been talking about it since February.
I understand.
Oh.
Perspective, obviously, we don't generally have to give you that much, because again, it's conceptual.
I understand,
And
but
I'm
the
trying-
traffic isn't conceptual. The traffic's gonna be there. So,
I get it. Listen,
But in this,
Don't misconstrue my comments. I like the project. I like to see the
No, it's
development. I like
nice
the
project.
residential component. I appreciate the 18% affordable. It was all meant to be constructive. With the exception, the only thing that I'm kind of a little opposed, or if not adamantly opposed to, is automotive repair.
and I gotta agree with my colleague.
I agree with that.
I agree with my colleague on that, and I like the project too. The traffic is bad over there, and we add an extra lane. Yeah, well, that's the whole point.
so, I-
More
Given your
question, any other questions?
Does anybody else? Go ahead, John.
I just have one question, and I think you explained this, but I didn't quite get it. Just curious as to why you didn't want to put a connection between the commercial and residential developments.
that's really more of kind of an ownership issue. You know, when we develop this, it might not always be in Mr. Eden's name, and people don't like to share. So, I mean, that's, you know how neighbors are, right? I mean, I think that's the easiest answer.
Stuff. Never
Right.
mind.
We thought it would be not to have, you know, instead of mixing the residential in between, we thought it would be the right, and again, from marketing, leasing and ownership perspective, that's the way to do it.
Okay,
It's a business decision.
okay, thank you.
Go ahead, John.
On that point, so is there pedestrian access between the two? Is that what's that?
We are providing that opportunity, centrally located within the site. You'll see a connection at Road 3 from the parking field across to the, yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. So we kind of had some foresight to look at like the topography in that area and where to best place it based on the pedestrian systems on both sides. So that's what you have there, central to the property. is a
Okay,
way
there
for
is some sort
kids
of
to get across.
connectivity,
Correct.
just not vehicular access.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I meant.
Okay, just wanted to clarify because to me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have 200 some odd units trying to get into that same intersection just to go to
Right.
right next door.
Fair, yep. Thank you.
Anybody else? You think we're good?
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
now for the star. Yes. So the next presenter is Kristen Cowett. She's a traffic engineer with 15 years of experience and has been before many boards across Rhode Island. So I would also ask you, Mr. Chair, to accept Ms. Cowett as an expert in traffic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
Good evening. Kristen Cowett. Last name is spelled Caouette. And I live at 711 Oak Hill Ave in Attleboro, Massachusetts. Sorry about that. Okay. As you've already been made very aware, we completed a traffic impact and access study that was submitted to the town in May. And since that time, we've received comments from the town and we are working through responding from those comments. So as it was described, you should be receiving a revised traffic impact study with those comments addressed and responded to in about 2 weeks' time. So with that initial study, we included, it reviewed 6 intersections. The 2 interchange ramps on New London Avenue at I-95 northbound and southbound, the intersection of New London at Center of New England Boulevard, New London at Arnold Road, and then along Arnold Road at Gay Street, and Arnold Road at Grandview. So that's the study area for this traffic review. So we completed counts in April of 2025. That is a seasonably high year for traffic volumes based on the state statistics. So there was no need to make any further adjustments to those traffic volumes for the existing condition. One adjustment that we did make looking at the no build condition is that currently Center of New England is A bridge is under construction, and Center of New England Boulevard will be connected within the year, it sounds like. So based on the traffic volume information that we have, travel patterns in the area, our understanding of how people like to move between the various roadways in the network, we made some slight adjustments to the traffic volumes on Center of New England Boulevard. Between 5 and 15% of volumes on New London Turnpike were shifted to Center of New England Boulevard, where it made logical sense in terms of how neighborhoods and developments are connected throughout kind of the Center of New England region, as opposed to just simply focusing on the study area narrowly. Let's see, so with this traffic study, the other no-build adjustment that we made to the traffic volumes is we, at the request of the town, layered on some adjacent development projects that are going on. So a total of 7 additional developments were layered onto the existing condition for various developments at different stages of planning and construction. Some of them very early on, some of them further along in the process. So that goes on top of the existing condition volumes and the adjustments based on the connectivity on Center of New England Boulevard. So then we were able to layer on our site improvements. So the graphic that was up earlier showed the site and described the 4 driveways that we have accessing the site. 2 driveways on Arnold Road, 2 driveways on New London. The 2 driveways on Arnold Road, as described, are intended for the commercial elements of the development. On New London Turnpike, the what I'll call southern driveway is for the commercial development, while the northern driveway is for the residential development. The 2 driveways closest to Center of New England at Arnold Road, so the one on Arnold Road and the one on New London Turnpike, rather. I apologize, I said that wrong a couple times. Both of those driveways are right in, right out, so limited access driveways. There should not be an event where you have a person waiting in the middle of the road to take a left-hand turn to get into those driveways. What I'll call the outer 2 driveways, further up on Arnold Road and further up on New London Turnpike, are full access driveways, unsignalized full access driveways that allow vehicles entering and exiting from both bounds. So for those driveways, we did review the site distance requirements. Site distance requirements are governed by posted speed limit. For all of the driveways that are being proposed for this development, site distance was met for and exceeded the requirements for the posted speed limit on the given roadway, being Arnold Road and New London Turnpike. So in terms of traffic operations, the substantial impact here is really that under the no-build condition, there are many background projects going on before we even begin to start layering on the trips generated by the proposed project here. So once you layer on our proposed project, level of service does not change from the no-build condition to the build condition, meaning those conditions with all of the additional developments as described. The key challenge would be the Arnold Road at Grandview driveway, which is the full access driveway, I'll say kind of northmost or westmost on Arnold Road, depending on how you look at the map. That driveway does reach a level of service E, which level of service is a reflection of delay on an A through F condition, F being your worst. So level of service E condition during the peak morning and the peak evening and Saturday periods, primarily impacting those folks exiting the sites. So as some of this was described already by Josh, but we have some site improvements, which he described and we've kind of discussed a little bit already, include sidewalks along the perimeter of the properties described along Arnold Road and along New London Avenue, New London Turnpike rather. On New London Turnpike at Arnold Road, so what our memo describes as southbound, which on this graphic would be moving from the right to the left of the screen. We're calling that southbound in our write-up. On that approach of New London Turnpike to Arnold Road, we are proposing to reconfigure the lanes as you approach the stop bar to provide additional left turn storage, which would accommodate the queue lengths that are projected by this study. And then on Arnold Road at Grandview, we would want to make some very similar modifications as were described earlier by this board in terms of having a right turn lane that kind of terminates here, entering the site opposite Grandview Avenue so that you have one lane proceeding up Arnold Road after that point. Kind of acknowledging the race that you all described as you're traveling up Arnold Road as that lane drops. Separate of these mitigation measures, we were requested to review some additional opportunities for mitigation kind of more broadly in the study area, which are documented in our traffic memorandum. So that is probably my pretty quick description of traffic impacts. I know you've already heard a lot from Josh and from the team. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, did you notice on Grandview, site distance, when they put the solar in, they put a pole right in the sidewalk,
Mhm.
the end of Grandview. If you're coming out and you're heading south, you can't see. So I think that needs to be addressed, and I don't know who's going to address it. It's not the applicant's fault, but I don't know why they put this telephone pole in the sidewalk when all the rest of them are set back in the grass. But that's definitely a site problem, especially if it's a motorcycle or a bicycle.
Mhm.
You're not going to see it.
Noted.
Other than that, I know there's traffic. I'm not afraid of traffic as long as it moves. I mean, going out too, there's traffic.
Mhm.
There's going to be traffic here. Anybody else have any questions on traffic?
No, just glad you considered adding lanes to stem the traffic and hopefully mitigate the one. It's fun.
Hearing none, I think we're good on the traffic. I know you said that you would be giving additional information to the staff in 2 weeks.
Yes, in 2 weeks, about 2 weeks.
Give staff a lot of time to review the traffic.
Mhm.
So I think we ought to head to a continuation. I think it's only fair to staff. They have 2 weeks to review. They have a peer review. And I feel your frustration. I watched the TRC. It's unfortunate, but we have to get this right. We gotta get this right.
Understood. I mean, I don't know. Wanna say anything? Yeah. So our next presenter is Ed Pimentel.
And I feel, I feel your frustration. I really do.
So I'm sure you know Ed Pimentel.
Yes.
He's been, almost every land use matter.
I'm not going to pontificate on
Wait,
my report.
I have to
Oh,
follow
yes,
for you as an expert.
Okay, I didn't.
So would you accept him as an expert?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been before this board. In fact, I've done several of the.
Name and address, please.
I'm sorry. Edward Pimentel, that's P as in Paul, IMENTEL, Cranston, Rhode Island. I've done several projects here. Obviously, I don't need to pontificate on character or neighborhood on my report. I know the board knows your comp plan well and read my report. So I just really wanted to offer up some information because I heard questions and I'm always listening. I kind of do the cleanup listening. When we were designing this, and we had a real vision here, the vision really was just to make this a really contained self-environment. So it isn't jumping in, jumping out in your car, jumping in, jumping out in your car, which, by the way, contributes badly to the environment, traffic issues, et cetera, et cetera. We want people to come, park their car, take advantage of the restaurant uses, entertainment uses, retail uses. The same thing was with the residential component, right? We want pedestrian access, but we want people leaving, getting into a vehicle to go access the business. Leave your unit, go access the business, consolidate. That's why mill redevelopments are so successful. That's why areas like, South County Commons, probably one of the largest components of my development consulting now, outside of my municipal career, is we're doing an infusion and making areas mixed use. So we're adding commercial, adding residential into the developments so that they are more self-contained and we decrease vehicular volume and so forth. One other point I wanted to make why we redesigned it this way too, in addition to everything the engineer said and so forth, is when you're traveling from west to east, and Coventry has been very admirable in holding firm. Western, central Coventry, rural, residential, lacks infrastructure, we're going to protect, right, the vision there. Eastern Coventry is going to be our economic base. But yet, when you do travel easterly towards the border, it does get to be lower density residential. So our thinking was, it's a transition. You're going from the heavy commercial to high density residential to lower density. And that's also another thought pattern we had and when we redesigned this. So really the vision again was mixed use, self-contained, lower the vehicular volume, make it more pedestrian friendly, right? And to get to your question and your question too, sir, it was never our intent to have the types of uses here that would be contrary to that vision of that environment. So we're not thinking heavy automotive, collision repair, right? Those lower intense uses, the kind of uses that you would want to walk to. So I understand, and maybe it wasn't clear, but it was never those types of uses, the heavy automotive, collision, the types of business that belong in a general business district. So I don't know.
We have two automotive in Center and New England.
Right, understood, understood. That was never the intent. I don't know if you have any questions.
Clarify.
Again, just for the record, Mr. Pimentel, is the proposed development consistent with comprehensive community plan or satisfactorily address the issues where there might be inconsistencies?
Sure. What was most curious and very interesting to me was, obviously this board knows because you're working on a new comp plan, is that your old comp plan is a little dated. But what was most fascinating was that there was a vision that far back for this area. Obviously, residential has also, it's evolved more into a mixed use the way it probably should be. That's why it's successful. But it was always envisioned, and even the industrial area here in your comp plan, the industrial area was deemed to be inappropriate and to go more to this, more morphed into this kind of more pedestrian commercial flavor that serves the needs of the residents. And that's in a dated comp plan. So I'm impressed that the vision that was there has evolved. And to proof of that, we're not asking for a comp plan amendment. We're asking just for the zone change because it's still consistent with your comp plan as it stands.
And then will the proposed zoning ordinance or will the proposed development be in compliance with the proposed zoning ordinance?
Yes, yeah. So obviously we needed to craft something unique for this property because we've also seen where the surrounding developments and how they evolved. And we kind of took in the good and some of the good, some of the things that perhaps were a little more intense than we really wanted to concentrate. It's a suitable and decent sized property to develop, but it's obviously not on the level of the surrounding properties and developments. And we wanted something that was really truly more pedestrian flavor. And to accomplish that, we needed to craft our own ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Come on up, sir.
That's all right.
Yes, for the record, Tim Eden, 18 Lanark Road, Wellesley, Mass. The applicant, thank you very much for your consideration and your support. We were here in January and we've been hard at work ever since, trying to refine the plan and bring the thing to life. Josh and his team have been fantastic, and our leasing team as well has been out talking to tenants, and that helps shape the project. Initially, we came in with a 100% commercial plan, as you saw, and we couldn't identify the tenants, and we felt like the larger strip retail might be problematic. We needed an anchor tenant. We couldn't identify one, and it left us scratching a little bit our heads as to what was going to take shape there. So that sort of led us to go to the mixed use. And once we went down that road, we ran into problems. The site has tremendous topography, you may know that. And in fact, the left side is about 20 feet higher than the right side. So as we were planning this grand plan, we were dealing with a lot of earthwork, and it was getting very expensive. So once we went to a mix of uses, we said, well, we can really decouple, and we do have 2 subdivided parcels already. So what you see there doesn't reflect about a 20-foot drop between the residential and the retail. So that goes to the comment earlier about interconnectivity. We really couldn't put a road between the two, but we do have that pedestrian connection there. And also the residential, one of the things that we're offering is security. And when you have it connected to the retail and you have a lot of through traffic, that gets a little compromised. You have retailers parking in your residential areas, et cetera. So that sort of led us to bifurcate the uses even further. they're still connected, there's still pedestrian connectivity, and we value that. I think the other point that Richard, you brought up was the image, some of the images that you saw there. That was principally the corner that we've been trying to capture. So we spent a lot of time on how to make that corner something, not Cumberland Farms, which is across the street, but a gathering point and something to draw you in. And the comment was made about placemaking. I'm not sure who brought it up last time we were here, but we spent a lot of time on, can we create, what kind of place can we create here? And that's what you see on the lower left corner. That square is kind of our town square. And it doesn't look like much, but it's 3 buildings. They're planned that way for a reason, and that is to try and create some sort of a place. And it's heavy on restaurants, food and beverage. And one of the things we're counting on is an urgent care center that is out there. They're looking for locations. We think that we can land them. They would also provide potentially primary care offices as well. So we're very excited about that. That would really anchor that corner of the project. It might lead to the eye doctor and the dentist, and make it a collection of medical uses. We think that would be meaningful. So that give you a little flavor of what we're trying to accomplish there. And yes, you would see that at preliminary plan. You would see that come to life a little bit more.
It's funny you bring that up about the medical building, because my doctor was just telling me we need a medical building in town. It's diversified.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring it up, because he said the same thing. We're lacking that. So you're on
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So we're thankful for your support. We do want to move this thing along. We've been delayed a little bit the last couple of months. Kelly suggested maybe you could approve our zoning request and send that on to the town council for approval, because they are going to meet the day before you guys meet in August. So that's one day off. And we're happy to come back on the next night for another review of the project. But we're hoping to get through town council at the next meeting in August.
I don't think it's possible, because we need our staff to have time to review, and it's saying it's 2 weeks out for traffic. The council is not going to approve anything without staff's approval.
Yeah, and let me address that, because I know we've been very supportive of staff, and we went overboard on the traffic study. And by the way, the traffic engineers went so far as to make recommendations for striping and for signalization at the intersection of Center New England Boulevard and New London Turnpike. All that traffic in there between 95. They went overboard to look at what changes could be made with striping and with signalization there to speed traffic through that area. That was beyond our call of duty. But Doug came back and said, hey, we want to add a few projects. Hey, great. I said, no problem, we'll do it. And we're hard at work doing that, and we'll get that in promptly. I don't think it's going to change our site plan and our on-site plan for traffic in and out of there. We're going to add a few more units to the plan. It's going to show more demand for services of a variety of services and facilities. But I don't think it's going to change our proposal. So and it certainly wouldn't change our request for a zoning change. So we're hopeful that you'll give us the green light. We're happy to come back and meet with you towards the end of August to try and speed this thing along. We are out there leasing, and we have been facing delays that are not helpful to the leasing.
I mean, you just came in February, so you're doing pretty good. It's been very vigorous. But again, I don't want to repeat myself, but I wouldn't want to go into council with an incomplete traffic study and no support from staff, because I think you're going to waste your time.
I'll leave that with Doug.
That's my opinion. I mean, you're going to go in front of council, and the council's going to look at staff report, and
We would
the
never,
review says it's not complete.
we would never want to do that.
No, so you don't want to get a bad taste in the council's mouth, because you need that zone change.
Right. Yep. Got it.
Go ahead, Rick.
Anything else?
I just have two quick questions. The first is, given some of the proposed uses, and I know you talked about restaurant, and notwithstanding what the zoning ordinance says with regard to parking requirements, Do you think these plans show enough parking? I mean, a restaurant where people go in and sit for an hour and a half and then maybe they're gonna walk around and shop, or, I mean, it's just food for thought. Again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but it was something that I looked at when I looked at the plans originally, and I looked at all that square footage, and then I said, well, restaurant. Is there enough parking for that many people to come? Or are you just gonna wait and see and say, well, if the potential lessee comes in and says they new parking, then we'll just have to make the accommodation or find a different tenant? I mean, I don't know how that works.
Yes, so it's a good question. We're testing that every day with the tenants that we're talking to. We're talking to banks, service stations, you know, and
I know the banks
everything else.
nowadays need 3 spaces.
My daughter says we need a different type of coffee shop in town.
Okay.
I'm not gonna mention no names.
And the other question would be, and I see Kelly standing next to you, is do you object to limiting the motor vehicle to full or self-service gasoline or alternative fuel dispensaries combined with the retail convenience sales and getting rid of the tire, battery, oil changes? I mean, I know you referenced that one, but again, if we're trying to make this the center and we've got possibly medical uses, restaurants, do we really need a service for automotives? And again, the only reason I say that is I don't care how neat they try to keep them. There's always antifreeze, oil, something there. I mean, go to the one at Center New England on a Saturday, they must have 20 cars that haven't been picked up yet. They got a stack of tires behind the building. BJ's have got tires by the building, empty propane canisters, that type of thing. I'm just trying to
Yeah, no,
Keep
I
that.
understand completely. I think what we were looking for was Jiffy Lube, which presumably that's an acceptable use. You're not happy about Jiffy Lube.
Well, I'm just saying, you still get the same thing. You know, you get this, no matter how you slice it, there's always grease, dumpsters. They have to put that waste oil somewhere. I mean, granted, maybe they happen to be able to keep theirs inside.
So you're looking for, you're okay with a service station that pumps gas, but you don't want any auto service at all?
If possible, yeah. I mean, if you got air, you offer air, EV chargers, you know, clean stuff, not oil and things of that nature. It was just a thought. I mean,
Just to interject, I agreed. Is that the kind of traffic you want in this beautiful development? That's, you know, Garden City doesn't have, you don't want that in this development. I don't see it.
City.
That's, no, I know, but I just
they
don't
got
think
rid
you
of
want
them.
this
There
kind
used to
of,
be one.
this kind of traffic. And
What I would suggest, if you are going to continue this anyway, let us just think about it, massage it. And we might come back with a yes, but I mean, he did have that as a potential tenant. So I'd like to just have a month to think about it if we're going to come back anyway.
I know the Jiffy Lubes really do contain a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
In the building.
Maybe we could show you that. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'd rather
I don't
not
see anything else.
agree to
that
it
we
right
have-
now if we're going to be here again.
Well, either that or amend it so that it actually says that, a self-contained automotive service where,
Exactly.
Yeah.
so you got the flavor of what we're looking for. I'm not trying to rule out everybody, but
So
We don't want to see the stuff outside either. Stacks of tires.
I know it's just master, but you don't need a truck route. This is like, these roadways are good for these food vendors or tire carriers. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if there's a truck route. I think Walmart has, and Home Depot, they all got their own truck
It's
routes.
a huge truck.
Correct. And you don't expect any of these businesses to need one of those.
You wouldn't have tractor trailers in there.
In fact, we're proposing like shared loading because we're not going to need all the loading.
Gas station will probably have a tractor trailer
Yeah,
for loading, but I don't
Right, but-
visualize any other.
they come in and they're right on site and, you know, you see them all the time.
Yeah.
But all your comments are fantastic and thank you.
Well, that's what master plan's for.
Yes,
Thanks for taking them. We know it's master.
yes. Right, yeah.
I'd like to ask one question about the entrances. You only have one entrance for the residential portion. And granted, I don't want to add any more ins and outs of roadways, but is that sufficient for all those tenants? I forgot to ask her when she was up here, sorry.
You actually, we're gonna ask her.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would just, before Kristen, I would just say that, again, it's a bit of a security issue. It's typical for a residential community to be a cul-de-sac for that reason. So it is self-contained. So that's part of the rationale there. I'll let Kristen.
Oh, no, and I understand it being separate from the industrial part, My just concern is you have one entrance and exit for 220 units. If that consideration.
Yes, yep, we did take that into consideration. So when we determined the number of trips for the retail and the residential separately, we assigned them to driveways based on their origins and where they were going. So yes, the traffic study that shows the delays and level of service associated with that specific driveway reflects all of the residential trips at that driveway. And yes, it does operate at an acceptable level of service and reasonable queues.
You, if I could just follow, so you've got, yeah, so you've got enough stacking on your driveway for people exiting, but I think part of the question, and I don't want to put words, is for like an emergency, like you've only got the one entrance. Is that, and that doesn't necessarily go to traffic. Yeah, it was just a thought. So,
And that was not brought up, but we're happy to revisit it.
oh, just if you check with the fire marshal, I'm fine with that.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr.
Procedurally, the chair, is it possible to help the applicant along by having a special meeting in
It's up to
between?
staff. I don't know if they have enough review time.
Okay,
That's really up to staff.
just a question about help.
We thought of it, but the review time, I think, is the problem.
Ultimately, I would defer to the commission. Now, one thing that we should all be aware of is that just because we may have our meeting, let's just say hypothetically, we moved our meeting, had a special meeting in mid-August, or we moved our regular meeting up. It's not clear to me, and it's not this department's role to advertise for the ordinance. And I don't know what their standard procedures are. And when the clerks who staff the town council envision the hearing occurring. So we could be working to move a meeting up for the sake of a council meeting that isn't going to be scheduled until September. And that's a piece of communication that we haven't had with them. The council just last night accepted this for a first reading, which means that the clerks are now in a position to be considering the advertisement. You might have to, I'll ask because the applicant might know. I think an ordinance like this might require 3 consecutive weeks. And then there might be some lag time between when they order it and when it occurs.
Did think of that, but
There's publication issues. It's about a month.
Yeah, so we may be trying to arrange, and I appreciate that the board's trying to be considerate. If there was a way to move the meeting up by a week, is that helpful? It's not even clear to me if that meeting could occur at the council's last meeting in August anyway. That's something that the clerks would handle, and they're just under, today would be their first day to have even considered placing an ad. Yep, I appreciate it.
yeah, we would be continuing the recommendation to council also to the 27th. So hearing tonight that, the traffic study's not going to be in for 2 weeks, staff has to look at it, the peer review has to look at it, and then we don't know on the schedule of the council. I'd hate to do all that, and it doesn't work anyway. But that's my opinion. I don't know about the rest of the board, but. Is that it for your presentation? I'm going to open up public hearing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open up public hearing.
Make a motion that we open public hearing.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearing is now open. Anybody in the room like to come up and speak on this project? Come on up. And we'll be continuing it, so there'll be another public hearing at master plan and then another one at preliminary.
Great. I love meetings.
I haven't seen you, I don't think.
No, I go to different ones, but thank you. Jean McMahon, 33 Harrington Road in Coventry. So I'm not excited about this at all, this new development at all. I feel the gentleman that said we need extra lanes on Arnold when you make that corner, I'm with you all the way. I don't know how it's going to fix all this traffic. I live on Harrington, which is approximately 5 streets maybe from the corner of New London and Arnold. Even now, if I go out my street to take a left, some days I'm there 3 minutes before I can take a left. Right, of course, is usually not a problem because I can kind of hurry up and do that. But the left, you've got traffic going to Walmart, you've got traffic coming, saying down the hill, going to Job Lot or wherever they're going. So I'm not happy about the traffic with the impact that it's going to have on my neighborhood and all the surrounding streets. So are they planning on red lights? There's a heavy school bus route there that stops on quite a few of those streets from mine. So the traffic is on Arnold Road is to me horrendous. And that's all I have to say.
We're well aware of it, and that's why we're taking our time on this traffic.
So really, really do, because I would love to go up to this new development, go up there, have something to eat, maybe walk up there, because I won't be able to make the left to get there. Anyway,
We got the sidewalks for you.
I know.
We're right on them.
I know, but they're kind of high. I
Yeah.
just want to say that.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else like to come up? And I will continue public hearing also. Anybody on Zoom, raise their hand? Nobody. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing. Oh, no, I'm going to continue public hearing, right. I could reopen it, but I'll continue public hearing to the 27th. We will. Yeah. But I'm not gonna do it now. I'm gonna wait until we continue everything.
And just a quick note, as we were discussing the range of uses the applicant is interested in, and this is really for the applicant's benefit too. They mentioned the thought of an urgent care center. As we looked through the code, this zone would allow doctors and dentist office. There's another use that in Coventry is historically classified as might be more the urgent care. It's a use called a walk-in medical clinic or treatment center. There's still an opportunity for this applicant to make a friendly amendment and provide a suggestion at the next one to consider incorporating that. Thus far, staff don't have any concerns with what the applicant's suggesting in terms of ordinance changes, these minor tweaks that they discussed up front in their presentation. When we eventually do get to a point of making a recommendation on this, I would suggest that the board consider making a recommendation that is inclusive of some of the discussed friendly amendments that are happening. We do understand that these amendments they're not something that the town solicitor is in disagreement at this point. So I think it'd be something that provides a record for the council to know when they make a vote on amendments, the commission's considered them all. And that could be another one if the applicant sees that as a good fit.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing and the development to August 27th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we can continue item, just want to make sure I got my front to back here. 7.2 Coventry Center's public hearing and the request for master plan approval, and also item 8, the recommendation to the town council regarding the proposed ordinance 2025-19 to the August 27th meeting.
I'll second it.
Mr. Solicitor, is it okay to add the continuation to town council also in this
Yes.
motion?
Item 8.1?
Yes. Okay, as read. Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second.
Mhm.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
that recycle bin.
You're gonna watch the meeting.
Can't see it. I'm not doing it just to do it, right? I'm actually looking at something.
If you don't know what to say, he does this. Puts the glasses like this. Okay, director's report. You're on, Doug.
Yeah, we don't have any substantial updates. I will tell you. Oh, nice. Well, I will say that we're making progress. We got some work product from a consultant. There's nothing substantive worth getting into tonight, but that we do want to keep this rolling. It might be in the next month or two. Probably not next month. We'd have formal items, but we're going to keep it rolling so that if there's minor updates along the way, we'll give them to you. Alex, can you think of anything that's a quick hit? Yeah, we're just reviewing work products now and getting them geared up for you. So you'll be seeing subregs within the next few months, I would assume.
Do we have to specifically say what's on the agenda, or can I ask a question about the comp plan?
As long as you don't vote, you can always amend the agenda.
What
Yeah,
in the
and you know what? I'll put it to you this way.
Housing element?
Under the comp plan is an important document as it relates to our subregs, which is an item that's on our agenda. Sometimes the subregs are informed by the comp plan. So I wanted to open that door. If there's comments on the comp plan, that can sometimes inform our subregs. So are there any questions on the comp plan?
Just wanted to know where we're at. I know we're trying to do the housing element, but
Good question. Where we're at is I think we've got a comp plan that all aside from the housing chapter has been ready for about the last calendar year. But over that last calendar year that the staff has been spending a lot of time on the housing element particularly. We're in the midst of considering or actually currently putting together an application to a program to bring in a consultant. I think our housing element is going to be, in my opinion, one of the most important elements of our comp plan to get right, particularly with the way state laws changing, particularly with the way they're changing around comprehensive permits and the importance of being able to show how you're making progress on your affordable housing goals. I think that instead of trying to continue to fix up the housing element the best we can at a staff level, which to be honest is a bit of adding Band-Aids and making it better, but I think it's worth bringing in a more refined consultant to help with that. And then because of that effort, bringing in a consultant might mean that's 6-8 months away. I'm considering bringing the comp plan forward almost in an effort where there would be a plan with the best we got now, all of the plan being great and the housing plan being at a B+, while we work on the A+ housing plan on the side. And we see, I don't want to hold the whole comp plan up for another year while we work on one element. So I'm considering moving it in almost a dual track. But I did take some time and think through, can we get away with the housing element the way we have? And to be honest, I think we're better off taking the time and getting it right. We're going to have to live with that for 10 years. And it's really going to set the tone for a busy 10 years of housing development in this community.
I agree. I think anybody else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
A motion and a second.